Hello, MGTOW. Hello, men. This is Howard Dare. Thanks for stopping by. So I want to talk about people pretending to be offended in order to control the speech and the freedom and the rights of other people. Because I believe that's exactly what's happening right now. In order to make any content unsuitable and not promoted on YouTube, you need only claim that it offended your sensibilities. In order to destroy anyone's freedom of speech, right to assemble, right of association, you need merely pretend that their activity and behavior is offensive to you, that it is against the social norms and the group. It's a very powerful weapon in a society, in a culture that enshrines individual rights. One need merely claim that their individual right has been violated. And now the whole system, this is what the whole system is predicated upon. So the system stops and says that's not allowed. So I have not been allowed to speak for many years now. All of my speech, all of my thoughts are controlled, predetermined. Because if I speak naturally, I will offend people who are enshrined in power, who like their control. It's not a question of who's telling the truth. It's not a question of what's best, what's healthy. It's not a question of what represents our principles. This is a power grab. You know, this is like giving someone the hall monitor pass, making them a hall monitor in elementary school. Once they get any level of control, they abuse it. Power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So the tech industry is in a position to control what people are allowed to say. If the masses within a concentrated media center find something disagreeable, social media can shut it down. Rule by mob rule, by group consensus. Yet the passions, the feelings of the group, they're mercurial. They'll change. What's worse here in MGTOW is that if you say anything that offends the sensibilities of a mama's boy, your speech is curtailed. But if you say things which agree with the internal internal feminism, that's acceptable. And then when you consider that the cycle of a civilization is that from male patriarchal values to unrestrained female sexual values, and how this, because the resources really attract them. I'm sorry, when the ship comes into the harbor, the whores congregate around the ship. That's all. When the technological advanced freedom-based civilization with free markets acquires trillions of dollars of resources and starts handing it out, people who don't necessarily share the principles that created all that wealth vie for that power. And they'll do anything for it, even if it's maladaptive, even if it destroys them generation over generation. So you understand what's going on there. And you understand that this is a psychological, social compulsion as well. In other words, honestly, I'm being limited because I might say something that upsets the idea that some man holds in his head about his mother. Was your mother perfect? Right? It's a great topic for a video because it's so automatically triggering to the blue pill man who's merely adopted the values of the most sensitive and manipulative group around him. That's what's happening. We're being manipulated on a societal, cultural level from women who are pretending that they're going to cry. They don't have to work. They don't have to get results. They merely have to pretend that something you said made them upset. And all of the people around you, all of the institutions around you will come down on you. Man and a woman commit the same crime, they get different sentences. Man and a woman hand in the same paper at school, they get different grades. The boys are punished merely for being boys. Taking toxic masculinity courses. Check your privilege. The white children in elementary schools are given courses on checking your privilege. Transsexualism is taught as normalized. There's a program going through the UK right now that tries to teach that there's no differences between boys and girls, right? The basis of feminism, right? That's what gender equality is, right? And the name of this program is There Are No Boys and There Are No Girls. And essentially what it does is it shames both groups for having their own identity. So this is an attack on identity. This is an attack on standards. This is an attack on principles. This is an attack on borders. This is an attack on limits. Certainly when you, as a man, express them. In other words, I would prefer not to have people mass immigrate to my country and then undersell the infrastructure of my society in order to support those people. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's right. Anybody who would do that, I don't look at them and think that they're, full of virtue. I look at them and I think that they're fools. But for expressing that opinion, which I believe is, the intelligent, informed, thoughtful, adult, responsible decision, a group of people who want to manipulate the system and get things for free because they're pretending to be offended and they're pretending to be victims, attack me. So what happens when there's more people in the world that want to cheat the system, that want to get things for free, that want to pretend that the sympathy of the group is, the coin of the realm? When there's more of those people than there are the people who work and who produce and who create value in the world and then exchange that value with other people. Well, that's what we're finding out right now, aren't we? It's a terrible thing. People get punished for their virtue, for their ability. The idea of having people that are highly successful and who achieve a great deal becomes, something shameful. And the idea of making everybody have an equal outcome seems like the, ideal that they're aiming for. How could you have that? If one person gets up early and works hard and studies and prepares and anticipates, and another person sleeps late and doesn't prepare and does not study and is not ready, why would you expect them to have the same results on a test? Why would you expect that? Why would that be desirable? Would you then promote the person who hasn't done any preparation and who doesn't have the skills or the knowledge into a position of authority because you feel bad for them? Well, that's the world that we're moving towards. Okay, I'm not allowed to speak what I have to say because it might offend someone. So if I say that you need to work hard and produce and be productive and exchange value with other people, well, that's heresy to someone who's just part of the group and going along with the group and earning a paycheck by doing that, by not expressing, their own values, by not even examining whether or not they have their own values. And I'm saying that if you delay doing that for too long, you will lose the ability. You will become like a blob, both internally and externally. And this is part of the reason why I suggest to you that there are so many people that look like blobs and carry themselves as blobs in life. When you're younger, it's much easier, but over time, it starts to affect. This is my warning to you. Establish the values in life, the habits, the practices that will make you strong, not the ones that will make you weak. Understand that the world around you is pretending to be offended, that it's going to cry, that you've upset it, that you've really disappointed her. That's what the world is doing to try to get you to do what they want you to do. If you do that, they'll stop giving you a hard time, but you will betray yourself. And eventually, you will become a traitor unto yourself. And the group will throw you out. The group doesn't really care about you. So you need to go your own way. You need to find your own way. Make yourself strong. Okay, that's my message. Understand, anybody who's part of the group considers that message heresy. They see somebody acting that way, they say, you're crazy, you're not allowed to do that. I'm going to report you. You don't agree with the group. Therefore, they're conformity enforcers. They make sure that other people go along with the group. Understand that you can't have a strong conformity enforcer and then a strong innovative group. What do you think you're going to create within freedom? You're going to create the innovators, aren't you? What do you think you're going to create within a free market? You're going to create the innovators. People will have to become innovators, won't they? But that's difficult, isn't it? So now do you understand why a group comes in and sets up their regulations and says this is what you can and cannot do? You certainly can't say anything that might upset any woman or that, might offend anybody. It's like, well, if you want to make an omelet, you've got to break a few eggs. The innovators, the producers, they know that. The other people, all they want is to have the approval of the group. And men going their own way means going their own way from the group. I love the way that everybody assumes that men going their own way means that they're going their own way from women. Right? If a woman has got a healthy attitude, men don't have a problem with her. If a woman doesn't hate a man doesn't have a problem with that. The problem is that the men who get together with the women, even though the women hate the men. I'm saying you shouldn't do that. You should go your own way in that instance. Anyway, it's all just advice. These are just things that, we're talking about in the moment because they're affecting what's going on in our daily lives. And I thought some of this might be useful to you. That's all. That's all that's going on here. But if you like the content, please support the content. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, donate, and join me again, Howard Dare, as I plan to have more content for you. Thank you, MGTOW.